Welcome to MJ Hobby Corner. I'm MJ. Welcome to my studio. It's a little chilly here today, so I'm wearing my hat. Hope you don't mind. But anyway, in today's video, I want to show you guys a new way that I'm making figures, and that's a new medium that I'm using. I'm sculpting with plastic forks, knives, and spoons. I know it sounds strange, but using that plastic and then arranging things in such a way that I can use my soldering iron as a cutter and shaper, and also my Dremel tool with the filing bit, using that as a shaper. Now, whenever I do these things, I work with plenty of ventilation. I also put on a eye protection and even my mask, because when I'm filing things, shards of plastic are going everywhere. Okay, so and I don't want to ingest the powder, the plasticky powder or whatever. So I wear my mask and my eye protection. Always important to be safe. Okay, so but it's a technique that is yielding a lot of results, and not only am I happy with it, I'm considering pushing it further and further. Now I'm still learning how to sculpt this way. Anytime you're using a new medium or a technique that is so well, different, yeah, I have to say it is different. I have to really kind of learn to work with the material, and so things are still rough. I'm not where I want to be, but with more practice we can make some pretty cool figures, I think, in the future. Right now these are just the basics. So let me show you the first one, which is a reptile, and then I'm going to show you some terrain, and that'll be it. Feet and clawed hands. I use a piece like this from the knife. Next, I'm going to cut my fork bits, and unfortunately I prefer to use the tips, but we'll just have to shape these. I cut 3 because this is a bird-like reptile. And one of them I always try to cut a little longer. That's the middle one, but we'll see. So 3 little pieces from the fork, and then this big piece, which will be the foot. This is my setup, okay? And it has a hole there because the wire for the foot is going to go right through there, okay? And then these are the digits. Well, now we have some shaping and some melting to do. So let's hold it with pliers. Always hold it with pliers, and then start shaping gently over here. And I usually go a little bit, then let it dry if I see that the digit moves too much. Very patiently, just start to blend in the plastic, and this will help it attach to the other piece as well, because you're using the plastic as an adhesive. Then I turn it on the other side, and I'm using the tip of the soldering iron. All right, now we just let it dry, and then I can make the claws, just kind of melt the plastic away and make it sharp. And then that's a foot or a small claw. Here's the lower jaw, and I repeat the process for the lower jaw, okay? Same process that I used up above, and then it makes a rough head. Now this is going to be more of a turtle-like creature, so I'm actually going to make a different lower jaw, but I just wanted to show what I did. All right, so here is the creature, and I decorated the base. I did some painting with my airbrush, and that's how I got everything base coated. Now I need some highlights still here and there, and we're gonna just bring them a little closer. You notice I used Mod Podge, the glossy Mod Podge, for the eyes and the mouth. It's always a cool thing to do to simulate moisture in those areas. Okay, and I did it around the nostrils as well. So, not a bad creature. I mean, I'm still learning. This is still very rough. I'm learning to work with this new medium. I'm still not, 100% good with it. I'm still doing a lot of learning, experimenting, but little by little, I mean, I can get the shapes that I want mostly from just working the medium. And it's a very different medium, using plastic forks and spoons and hot glue to make a figure. So it's not an easy um, task, really. Okay, I will admit that. All right, let's look at some of the other creatures I made. All right, and there's the plesiosaur here. If I can focus, there he is. All right, there's the little plesiosaur. And that's going to be for deep wars. They call it a fish lizard. And then there's the giant squid. Okay, with a little more paint on him. And he looks cool. I love the googly eyes. And he looks pretty cool. And again, that was done with the handles of forks and spoons. And now I have a reptilian, a terrestrial reptilian, which is going to be more of an alien reptile. I want to use them in a new kind of hiver army for one-page rules. It's going to involve not bugs, because I'm tired of bugs. It's going to involve reptilian creatures. Okay, so I have a couple of things here. The first one is this carpet coral, which I just made. And this is made by cutting up a plastic bottle, then using my soldering iron to make all of these little indentations for the tentacles. And then the body is this very nice cookie tray, and it's all ribbed and stuff, so it was perfect for making the tube for the coral. Now, the hard stony coral here is the green one, is just the leftover part of a plastic plant. And I saved them because I make little cactuses out of them, and I make little corals out of them. And that's what this is. And I gave it the heat treatment with my soldering iron and did all of these little textures and holes and things in there. So when I paint it up, it'll look cool. And that's a coral. But my point here, and I have the dinosaur in the background, is that this terrain can also be used as alien plants. It can double as that, okay? Here is the coral head that I made out of plastic forks and knives, okay? And it's very nicely textured. And it is now painted. And again, this can make an awesome alien plant. And this one's designed to be a coral head, but it could easily be an alien plant. And I think it looks good. I really think this plastic melting method really has a lot of good uses, okay? Now, I'm going to show you one more thing. Let's just spin the dinosaur, bring him around. Okay. So what I want to show you guys is for decorating my underwater environments and even many of my terrestrial environments, I made these little clam worms. Now these are clam worms, but they can also be centipedes. I mean, they have a very centipede look to them. Okay. And I'll show you in a minute. This is wire. I used some wire and then used with the hot glue, made a little bulge there for the head. And so these are different clam worms that are going to go on the coral. And then I made a nudibranch, which is these shellless snails, basically sea slugs. And they're beautiful, usually beautifully colored. I got to add a couple of colors to this. But notice the little flower bit there. And that's what I used to make the little cup of gills for the nudibranch. And for the antenna of the snail, I used this thing and just kind of cut it up because it looks like little antenna. And I can make all kinds of little sea creatures out of this thing, and then place them in my terrain. So this is like, these things are also toxic. so I can have a bunch of these colorful things, and maybe it makes the terrain toxic. I also glued it to a little stone, and then this is going to go, sorry, this is going to go in my coral head to decorate it a bit. And so, you know, this way we show that there are creatures living in and among the coral head, okay? So now these could be, my point is that these could be centipedes. Give them a little heat, give them a little bit of an S coil, right? Or coil them up, and you can make a whole stand of giant millipedes, like a swarm, and use them in D&D, use them in anything like that. Oh, by the way, for the nudibranch, the little cup of gills, that little branchy thing that you see there, that little flower, that came out of this plant. And it's a dollar store plant. So I can use that little yellow part there as gills, or as like the tip of a proboscis for a creature with, you know, like a tentacled proboscis and stuff. All right. So again, it's just letting your imagination go a little bit. And that's what I wanted to make the point, is to show, you know, different little things that can be done to decorate the terrain or to make new stuff. Little plant that I cut up, it was a dollar store plant, and I cut that up, the little palm fronds, and that's what I used to make my centipedes and clam worms. Okay, and I just set up a little ocean display here with the scratch builds, and you can kind of see some of the stuff. You see the fish school in the background, and I'm going to be making magnetized fish schools so I can put them around my coral areas, right? So this way I don't have to specialize my coral areas that much. They can be used in alien terrain. Also, here's this fish lizard, which I made out of a whale toy, and I completely modified. Actually, it wasn't a whale, it was a swordfish. That's what it was. It was a swordfish toy, and then I modified the head and then re-sculpted the head and added teeth to it, and I made my own little fish lizard out of that toy. And here is the cool little display for the giant carpet coral, and you see I added some synthetic sponge, and synthetic sponge is excellent material for making down logs. You can make cactus skeletons for desert terrain. If you want to have like some little scatter terrain and change your desert terrain, you could definitely use it for that. And also for sponges, it makes great sponges. Okay, so that's pretty much decorated. It needs to be painted. And there's a fish toy that I repainted and repurposed. There's the giant squid. All right, right by the coral head. And there are the fish school. And the coral in the middle with the big gribblies. Oh, there's the fish lizard that I just made with forks and spoons. And the coral head in the middle with all the gribblies. Okay, so yeah, a little underwater world in just seconds, and with all scratch builds, with the exception of a couple of little toys. Okay, all right, well, that's it, guys. And you know, it's not bad. I'm gonna be using this reptile in different games, and I'm hoping to make this new Hiver army that's gonna be all scratch builds and all reptiles. I'm kind of tired of the whole bug theme. Not that I don't like bugs. I love giant bugs. But I want something a little different. So, and these will be cool in my various adventure games as well. You know, it's just great having big dinosaur things running around as part of your army. So, that's that. And then with the sea terrain, all I want to say is that it can be repurposed and used in so many different settings. Okay. So a lot of the things that I showed, like the synthetic sponges, we'll see in the future. I'm also gonna show a video in the future of how I make giant bugs, alien bugs, using nothing but dollar store plants. And we kind of take apart the plants, use all the different pieces, and make some weird looking giant bugs and such. Okay. Also, if you want to support my dollar store addiction, on Patreon, please visit our Patreon and consider it. The lowest tier is like $2 a month, and it will definitely help with all dollar store stuff. I use very, very low budget or recycled materials for my builds, but you do occasionally need, you know, the adhesives or this or that, you know, so it will definitely help. Anyway, folks, have a great one. Thank you for supporting the channel, and we'll talk very soon. We'll talk in the next video.